All right, so behavior absolutely screwed me over because I was working on a video of reworking Pyramid Head's add-ons, and then they went and actually reworked his add-ons, which was actually kind of insane. But I'm still gonna upload this video anyways because I like some of my ideas better, but some of their ideas were better for sure. I like a lot of their add-ons. Honestly, I'm a big fan of the rework they did. But we're just gonna hop right into this. So up first, the iridescent seal of Metatron. Simple. Spawn 2 Bubblehead nurses in the trial. These Bubblehead nurses would function exactly like Nemesis zombies, except for instead of the infection before the injury, it's just injuries immediately. So the second the nurse gets too close, they'll hit you, they'll injure you, they hit you again if you come back to them, and then they'll down you. I think this would be really sick because the Bubblehead nurses are super iconic, and it would just be really sick to see them, twitching around, walking around the trial and shit, attracted to survivor proximity and survivor noise and things like that. And then Pyramid Head would be able to use them to gauge where survivors are at in their proximity and things like that. I think that would be really sick. Up next is the Obsidian Goblet. Increases the Rites of Judgment duration by 5 seconds. Survivors standing on the trail have their aura revealed as long as they're on the trail, and it lingers for 3 seconds once they leave. So the additional 5 seconds of the Rites of Judgment would allow you to put down longer trails, like maybe covering Shack entirely. So that way you just have permanent wall hacks on it. If the survivor stayed on it, which they most likely wouldn't, survivors normally don't just sit on trails like that. But once they did hop off the trail, you'd still have that 3 seconds of additional aura rating to possibly land a snipe. I think this would be a really solid ultra rare add-on. Up next is the Scarlet Egg. Survivors freed from the Cage of Atonement had their action speeds reduced by 10% for 90 seconds. So this was my idea of giving Pyramid Head the reason to not tunnel immediately out of a cage, because the survivor is going to be 10% slower on gens and healing and cleansing and sabotaging for the next 90 seconds. So that way he'd go for the uncager instead of the one that was in the cage. Up next, the Rust-Colored Egg. Survivors hit by Punishment of the Damned become tormented. This one's pretty simple, and I think it's kind of always how it should have been. Hitting a survivor with Punishment of the Damned, I believe, should torment them because, you can't always get survivors to walk in your trails. You can, but oftentimes when you put a trail down at a loop, the survivor will just WQ away. And I think landing a hit that's actually somewhat difficult to land sometimes should be rewarded by allowing you to cage that survivor. Up next is the Lost Memories book. Survivors who touch the trails of the Rites of Judgment are hindered by 5% for 10 seconds. So it's not too often that survivors do touch these trails, and they can kind of easily be avoided. But as soon as they touch the trail, they'll be moving at 95% for the next 10 seconds. So this could be huge for Pyramid Head because now he's moving 110 again when he's using his Rites of Judgment, or he's moving at 120 when he's going for the M1. This could allow him to outplay Shack better. Not that he really needs it, but just a small, nice passive effect. And lastly is the Crimson Ceremony book. Survivors in the Cage of Atonement have their timers reduced by 20 seconds. This one's pretty simple. Survivors currently have a base kit hook stage duration of 70 seconds apiece. 70 seconds for one stage, then they go to stage 2, 70 seconds, then they die. So it would be 50 seconds and then 50 seconds. This is to get survivors off gens faster and increase his 1v4 macro pressure. He can't use hook perks really, so I think his cages should be a little bit more deadly. And it's almost like a base kit monster shrine for him when he does put them in those cages. But yeah, that does it. I only did the rares and ultra rares because I really don't think anybody wants me to go through all the greens and yellows and things like that. But I think Behavior did a really good job with the new add-on changes for them. They're really interesting and really fun and not those boring ass generic X Faster add-ons. So yeah, that does it for this one. Let me know what you guys think of the add-ons that I created, and let me know if you like any of mine better than what they did. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one.